What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2007 movie Shrek the Third. So, in this movie, Fiona's father, King Harold, is dying and stuff, and right before he passes away, he tells Shrek that there is one other person that could become king of Far, Far Away, Fiona's cousin Arthur. So Shrek, Donkey, and Puss in Boots go on a journey to find Arthur and stuff, and right before they leave, Fiona tells Shrek that she's pregnant, and Shrek has this whole arc about being scared of becoming a father and stuff, and after they get Artie and stuff, he kind of starts to bond with him and everything. And while they're away from Far, Far Away, Prince Charming gets a whole bunch of villains from the Poison Apple Club or whatever that the villains hang out at, that was introduced in Shrek 2. He gets them to join him in taking over Far, Far Away, as he's wanting to take them for himself. And Shrek and the gang have to get back to Far, Far Away and save it and everything, so Arthur can take his place as king. This is the one that is usually called the black sheep of the Shrek franchise. A lot of people don't like this movie. It's easily one of my least favorite movies out of the core 4 movies. It's my least favorite. Now, out of the whole franchise, I don't know that I could say it's my very least favorite thing in the franchise, but at least out of the movies, I could at least say it's my least favorite out of those, and everything. It's an okay movie. This one had a whole different writing team and crew and stuff. The director Andrew Adamson didn't return for this movie and stuff because he was working on the Chronicles of Narnia movies and everything. So it has a whole new writing team, and it really shows. Like, the jokes and stuff in this movie are pretty stale. They're not near as good. The cultural references in here are not as good either. They have some fun moments, but it's definitely a big step down from the first 2 movies, and in a way it kind of feels like a standalone movie. It doesn't have a lot of the stuff you love from the Shrek franchise, like it doesn't have the storybook opening and stuff. It's the only movie in the franchise not to, and it doesn't feel like it fully fits into this franchise, if that makes sense, and everything. It does have its moments, so there are some funny moments in here, mainly like stuff with at the school and stuff. Like, it's laughably bad and cringy how the writers wrote the teenagers to talk and stuff. Like, I was 15 when this movie came out, so I was like, I guess, target audience. A lot of teenagers and stuff at the school I went to loved this movie and stuff, but all of us in school, we watched this one time in school, and it was on bootleg, because that's how ghetto the school was that I went to. We watched it on bootleg, and everybody was making fun of like how they wrote the teenagers talking and stuff. Like, it was so stereotypical and stuff, and like it felt like it was 50-year-olds writing how they think teenagers talk and stuff, and it's just really cringy and everything. But it's also kind of funny in a way, especially in the part when Shrek is trying to talk like a cool teenager and stuff. That scene always cracks me up. And there's a few other parts that always seem to crack me up for some reason. Like, there's a part where at the end, when they do this thing that Tangle completely stole from this movie, where all these villains are admitting stuff that they'd like to do and stuff, and Artie's having this talk with them, telling them saying, you know who's standing in your way, and he says, you, and they all think that he's talking about Rumpelstiltskin, and they're about to attack him and stuff. Something about that scene always cracks me up. It's just a little silly scene, but it always cracks me up. And Prince Harold's death is kind of funny. Like, they do like 2 or 3 fake outs before he actually dies and stuff, and I always did get a kick out of that. But and like when the villains are attacking far, far away, and you see Captain Hook go up to this little boy and says something about Peter Pan, and she says, his name's not Peter, and he says, shut it, Wendy. That scene always cracks me up for some reason. But those are really probably the only stuff that I really thought was absolutely hilarious and stuff. The jokes were not as funny in this movie, and there's this whole little subplot that comes into the third act where Puss and Donkey have switched bodies and everything, and it was funny at first, but it got old really quickly and everything. It was kind of annoying, and it didn't really need to be in here, especially that late into the movie. They could have just kept that out. It was kind of dumb and everything, and it didn't make a lot of sense why they were the only two that switched. Like, if that was going to happen, why didn't you make Shrek and Arthur switch too? You could have done that like at the beginning of the second act and had that be the full second act of the movie, and it would have been pretty good. Kind of been funny to see Shrek trying to be maneuvering a child's body and stuff. That might have been funny, but probably would have at least been funnier than the final product we got, though. And the music in this movie, it's not near as good as it is in the first two. There's not really any songs in here that really stand out and stuff and everything, and it's not as fun of a movie, and they add too many new characters too. Like, Cinderella and Snow White were in the first Shrek movie as like little special appearances at the end of it, but this one they add them and Rapunzel and everything, and they don't really bring anything to the story. There's not anything special, and then you get all these villains who had little appearances in the second one, and they make them a bigger part, and you're expected to like and care about them, and they're not really. They're just kind of there to serve Prince Charming and make him more threatening when he's really not threatening at all. And he's not a very good villain. He's easily the worst of the villains in these movies, but I think he does have a good motivation, though. I mean, like, his motivation makes sense. He's just not a very intimidating villain and stuff. And Farquaad really wasn't intimidating either, but he was still a better written villain. And I think this one could have been a lot worse, but it could have been a lot better. I don't think it's quite as bad as some people say it is, because I can handle watching it when I watch the franchise, but it is always the one that I look forward to the least out of the movies and everything. But like I said, I do like the stuff with Shrek and Artie, especially that scene when they're sent by the campfire and stuff, and they're kind of talking and everything about Artie's daddy issues and Shrek being scared of being a father and stuff. That was a nice little scene and stuff, and we find out a little bit about Shrek, like how his father tried to eat him and stuff. I thought it's funny, but also really sad and everything. So it does have its moments, but it just I just don't really like this movie near as much as I did when it first came out. I enjoyed it a lot more, but over the years, every time I watch it, and especially if I'm watching it with the series, I just don't like it as much and everything, and I can get why people don't like it. But yeah, so but I will say, though, also another reason I think I was disappointed with this movie when I saw it was the babies are barely even in this movie. They marketed the crap out of the ogre babies, and they're only in here at the very end of the movie and in a nightmare sequence and everything, which that nightmare sequence is another one of the best scenes in the movie. I love that scene when Shrek's having the nightmare and all those babies are invading the house, and then he ends up naked in front of the babies, which that part was really weird and everything. I don't know what they were thinking on that scene, but that, and then like Shrek sees Puss and Donkey with baby ogre heads, and that's like stuff of nightmares. It was really creepy, but I love the stuff with the babies, though. I think they're adorable, especially Fergus, the one that looks just like a little baby Shrek. He's just so cute. They're all three cute though, and everything. But and they give Grogu a run for his money on how adorable they are. But yeah, so I'd say I'd give Shrek the Third a 7 out of 10. It's a decent movie, but it's not a super great one. There are a lot worse movies out there. Like, I wouldn't go as far to say this is the worst animated movie ever made or anything, because there are way worse ones out there, and DreamWorks even has worse movies than this, but it just isn't one of my most favorites, and I get why people don't like this one as much either. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Shrek the Third. Do you think it is a terrible movie like most people do? Do you think it's just mediocre like I do, or do you absolutely love it? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.